This is Benny Anthony. You're listening to KCXL AM 1140. This is my new show. All right, that was Ministry, Burning Inside. Sometimes you feel burning inside with passion. Sometimes you feel sentimental. Sometimes you feel angry. These are all emotions, and one of the things I like to feel is inspired, and you can't always feel inspired. You can go through life inspired on fake things, and fake things today are all around us. People take fake drugs. People take fake food. I see people will scarf down on fake food, and I'm not opposed to it. I'm not like a food Nazi, but it just kind of goes along with this plastic lifestyle that people were talking about clear back to The Graduate about plastic. That was the plastics. And so I like a life that just is a little more gentler, and sometimes I get intense, and sometimes I will go beyond the intense, and sometimes I'm even absurd. But then I worry and I pull back and I go, life has become too absurd, and so maybe we've touched upon that a little too much, and so I try to rein myself in. And some running theme I've been talking about on my Facebook groups for at least almost 2 months is the sacred and the profane, or as they used to say on The Sopranos, the sacred and the propane. So, and in a little bit, we're going to have someone from Soprano Land. He's going to be our guest host. Anthony will be getting with us here in just a little bit, and we're going to have Almost Gene Simmons from the Kiss tribute band Almost Kiss. And we're also going to have someone to talk about concussion prevention. But those are just going to be some short bits. But in between, Anthony and I are going to kick around a lot of different issues. I'm going to try to steer things to the sacred. Anthony's going to be a little profane, but profane in the old sense, not like FCC violation sense. So I guess, in my heart of hearts, a phrase that I've been saying a lot lately, I care. And we live in a time when if you care too much, you will be criticized on either side, vilified. And so sometimes it's just easier to stick to the middle of the road. And that middle of the road, that doesn't feel good either. So you have to be yourself. And in the being of yourself, you have to somehow stay inspired or positive without just becoming that plastic person. And without further, we're going to go to New Jersey, live for New Jersey. Hello, Anthony. Please introduce yourself to Kansas City, Missouri.
Good morning, Kansas City. How are you? To everybody to the north, the south, the east, and the west. It's great to be with you this blessed morning. My name is Anthony Vitamia. I'm from Northeast Jersey.
Now, should we say top of the morning to you? You're Irish, right? Or are you a country bumpkin? Tell us about your ethnicity.
I'm an American of Italian heritage. My father's from Palermo. My mother's from Naples. And they came here in the 60s. And my father's father started the greatest pasta company on the planet, PastaBoy.com, Vita Mia and Sons Ravioli in Lodi, New Jersey. This is our 45th year in business. We've been open every day, and we just make everybody eat like kings and queens, simply put.
Well, Anthony Vitamia, how we met is through Facebook, through one of my groups. Well, actually, no, I take it back. It was kind of like a couple different steps removed. But one of the groups we ended up discussing was Sicilians across the globe. And I'm very interested in Sicilian culture and Italian-American culture because, I have family members that were Calabrese, mostly Sicilian, but, every Sicilian could understand a Calabrese woman, so they could speak the language, and so there was some people marrying into the family, but Sicilian culture definitely. And then, Nobly Don culture is definitely on exhibit here in Kansas City. Our family physician, Dr. Taramina, one side of the family, Taramina Sicily, That's where the kind of the name comes from. I don't know exactly where his family was from, but a lot of people just adopted city names. But his mom was Nabli Don, and he was on my radio show back in the 90s, and he told a great story about how he didn't learn Italian because his mom spoke Napolitan and his dad spoke Siciliano, and it wasn't formal Italian that they learned, so they spoke English.
Yeah, there's like a plethora of dialects, and sometimes they don't always agree with. But all Italians speak the same language. It's with their hands. Even if you put duct tape over their mouths, you can still get the gist of what they're saying with their hands, with their facial expressions.
So would you say your parents, was their common language more one of the Italian languages, plural, or was it English?
Well, the first thing they did when they got to this country was learn English ASAP. And it was actually my mother who taught my father English in Garfield. Garfield first at elementary school and then high school. And then they got married in 1977.
That's funny because Garfield was also a name of a very prominent school for Italian Americans here in Kansas City.
Cool.
So when you said that, there was like some Kansas City Italians going, huh? I thought he said he was from Jersey.
Yeah, there are a lot of Garfields, and I know at least 2 Lodis in America.
So where does the Patterson, New Jersey come in at? Because you had that mentioned before.
I just left Patterson. It's like 10, 15 minutes away from Lodi. It's right down Route 80.
Okay. Well, when I met Anthony, I didn't know exactly where he was from because he said he works for the Mafia in Denton, Texas. So
yes. Well, Denton, Texas, that's a little homage to the setting of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And Mafia was just the way, I don't know. I don't put anything serious on Facebook. 98% of the stuff of the posts are all in jest,
Anthony, keep talking because I'm gonna prompt up our guest, cue him up, and so give me a few moments.
Terrific.
All right, you're listening to AM 1140 KCXL. This is Benny Anthony, and we have Anthony on the line from Lodi. Well, he's not in Lodi today, but normally Lodi, New Jersey, and his family. They're very prominent in the Italian-American community. They have a business, like a lot of Italian-Americans, and I didn't know they were on the web, so this is new. And what's that website again, Anthony?
It's one word, pastaboy.com. Pastaboy.com, Vita Mia and Sons Ravioli.
A little bit of trivia about here in Kansas City is that we don't say pasta. Here in Kansas City, we say, through our accent, basta with a B. That's quite normal for an Italian-American here in Kansas City through some sort of quirk of Sicilian accent. Now, to most mainstream Italians, basta is short for abbastanti or abbastanza, which means enough. So it's almost like Americans instead of saying enough, they would say nuff. And so Italians went from abbastanza down to basta, and that meant enough. But here in Kansas City, basta was the way you said pasta. Had you ever heard that in Jersey?
No, but I have heard gravy for sauce.
To us, that's zugu, but tell us what gravy is.
Gravy is something, in my humble opinion, gravy is something you put on turkey. Gravy is brown. Sugo is sauce, and we make a lot of sauces. Sugo de pomodoro is the marinara sauce, is the plain sauce. We have vodka sauce, meat sauce, the Fra Diavolo sauce, spicy sauce.
Oh yeah, the Gorozos here in Kansas City. They're a Sicilian family that came over from St. Louis. They have the spicy sauce. That was something they introduced into the area in the late '80s. So I'm familiar with it, but not something I grew up with.
Terrific. Yeah, I know. Once you leave the tri-state area, authentic Italian cuisine is few and far between. I know people out there throughout most of the country. They've been eating, what they think is Italian food. They've been eating garbage for so long they think it's gold. But when people eat our pasta, the authentic, Sicilian pasta, they have a vision. They have an epiphany. Then they see what the real pasta is. So it's a joy to be shipping. We ship everything except meat products throughout the entire United States. You just call us up, we FedEx it, and you indulge. You'll know what real pasta is.
You know, one quick question. Did your family make stuffed artichokes?
Yes, we do.
Do you know how to say it in Sicilian? I've always wanted to hear that word because that word died out when I was a kid, and I don't remember how to say it.
Carciofoli.
Say it again. One more time, Anthony.
Carciofoli.
Ah, okay.
Artichoke.
Okay. All right, I tell you what, we're going to skip on over to another caller, and I'm not sure if he knows that he's going to go straight live, so we're going to warn him. Hope he's not doing something like cussing or something, but hang on, Dwayne. Dwayne, are you there?
I'm here. How are you?
Good. You're listening to the Benny Anthony Show. Now, Dwayne is calling from what part of Pennsylvania?
We're in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania. It's right outside of Philadelphia on Philadelphia's main line.
Dwayne, let me introduce you to Anthony. He is my guest host for today and maybe sometime in the future, as many times as you want. Anthony is calling from Jersey. So, Anthony, do you know where Dwayne is Pennsylvania? Have you been over there?
Yes, we do. We have a ton of customers who drive up all the way from Philadelphia just to have some pasta because years ago, it used to be a lot of Italians in Philadelphia. All the Italians are in Boston now. So now there's really a lack of like the old school Italian food in Philadelphia. But it's a pleasure to meet you, Dwayne.
Nice to meet you as well.
Okay, well, Dwayne, tell us about your business and tell us particularly about the website because I'm interested in preventing whatever you're trying to prevent.
We are a personal training studio here in the suburbs of Philadelphia. We've been in business for over 11 years now. We do all one-on-one personal training. Every time someone comes in to work out, they're with a trainer. They take them through from beginning to end. It's a very efficient, effective workout, and it's very safe. We are teaming up with a few other professionals. We have Alex Vaccaro, who is a spine doctor with the Philadelphia Eagles. Mark Asanovich, who has been a strength coach in the NFL for over 15 years, and Ralph Cornwell Jr., who is finishing up his PhD on strengthening the musculature of the neck and head to help lower the concussive forces and help prevent concussions. So we're teaming up with these three professionals on September 16th to have a concussion awareness and head and strength training seminar.
Now, what's the website that it's the...
Yeah, the website is concussionawareness.seminar.com. That'll take you to a page. It'll give you a little description of each speaker and where it's held and all that. So, it's concussionawareness.com, and you can get all the information there.
Well, I've had 5 concussions in my life, so I know all about them. First one came in the 7th grade in a street fight. Well, actually, after a basketball game fight. And the next one came in a weight room where someone was not paying attention, and they clocked me with a 10-pound weight. I was talking to my coach, and the guy reached back with a 10-pound weight, was stretching, and he hit me right in the head. Third time came in a boxing match. Fourth time came where someone lowered a squat rack, and I didn't know it was in a dark weight room, and I hit myself right into the bar. And then the fifth time, well, my joke was I don't remember, but I really do remember I got hit on a job site. So it's actually something near and dear to me because after that fifth one, everyone just kind of takes it out of you because, I used to be able to take getting hit in the face or the face mask, but then it just you get your bell rung a lot quicker. So,
well, what they're finding is that if you can strengthen the muscles of the neck and the supporting with the muscles on the head that support the structure of the neck, that it actually can dissipate some of the forces when in sports and you get hit. Some of what you're talking about may not have been able to be prevented by this because you got hit directly on the head, But when you're playing a sport and you're getting knocked around, and there's that whipping effect of the head and sloshing the brain around in the skull, that's what they're talking about, I believe, mostly with this.
Dwayne, before I let you go, and we have some other guests coming up, but one of the things I'm really interested in is that every gym out there is terrified of a neck machine, and I've always had trouble having access to a neck machine because you'll hurt your neck if you do that. And, but actually every time I've had access to some decent neck equipment, I was able to build up the strength in my neck, and I didn't have the pain. Any opinions of that you can give to us in about 30 to 60 seconds?
Yeah, basically what you want to do is make sure you know how to use the machine. And the reason most health clubs don't have them is because they don't have anybody who really knows how to instruct anybody using it. So we actually start people off just with their body weight exercises. So lay over a bench and just use the weight of your own head to add resistance to the muscles, and then we can slowly graduate you into a machine. But the reason they're not out there is because people are afraid of them and they don't take the time to learn it.
Dwayne, what is your Vertex website? One more time.
Yeah, our Vertex Fit website is just vertexfit.com, and then you can find the information about the seminar at concussionawareness.seminar.com.
And Vertex is Vertex, so if you're on Facebook, you'll be able to find him real easy. And the one thing you'll like about his Facebook page, this is how I found him, is that every day they're giving a positive quote, some sort of inspiration. So it goes back to the way I started the whole show, was that I want things that are inspirational in life. I want positivity. Sometimes if you get hit in the head, that's not a positive experience, but there are ways to rebound. So, Dwayne, I really appreciate you calling in, and we'll have you on the show again sometime soon, all right?
Great. Thanks for having me.
All right. Anthony, do you know any pain in the necks? Give us a story.
A lot of things. Hernias, all kinds of injuries. So it's a really important service. I mean, the body is very, very fragile, and you take one injury, that's it. It'll haunt you the rest of your life. And we've had a lot of back injuries, lifting heavy stuff. It's just, yeah. And then
hey, you're being nice. I mean, come on, tell us a pain in the neck. Tell us someone that makes you feel uninspired. Come on, you're always doing this on Facebook. You can do it.
Uninspired? Well, I think the dullest people, the most uninspiring people on this planet are the people who take themselves too seriously, who take this life too seriously, who do not have a well-developed funny bone, who just forgot how to laugh about themselves, about life. I think those are the most they live their own little robotic lives, and you got to pray for them. Those are probably the most uninspiring people on the planet.
Along these lines, this is a decent segue into something I was going to bring up. I read this on Facebook, and I went and verified it with KPAX. I'm not sure where that radio station or television station is at, but it's associated with Missoula, Montana. And evidently, there was an incident, one of those kind of gay bashing incidents. And I don't know, the gay bashing incidents, I get stuck in between. Nobody should be hurt for any particular reason whatsoever. But then the people that are willing to do violence, I'm not sure if you can stop them with some sort of platitude like, don't gay bash, don't be homophobic. But this kid, he looks like a kid, and it reminds me of a lot of people that I grew up with. When you don't know if a kid is gay or straight or what the situation is, but I mean he's a small kid, and so when I saw this picture of him being pummeled, I mean it hurt me. I mean I actually had a tear. It reminded me of someone. And so the man was identified as Joseph. He was targeted in an anti-gay beating outside a bar in Missoula, Montana, in the early hours of Sunday, according to the Wipeout Homophobia page on Facebook, which posted the above set of photos today. Now, when I read that, I was like, okay, Facebook, I'm not sure how accurate this is, but I found it, and so it really did happen. But this poor kid, he was just there to celebrate his 22nd birthday, and it just upsets me to no end that someone will brutalize anyone.
Yep.
You know, I have a friend right now that's in my life. In the 8th grade, I witnessed something that she did, and I thought about all these years. It was something that she brought up, and I had just forgotten. I just didn't bring the incident up. But there was a blind girl that we went to school with, and she was teased relentlessly.
Oh.
And you know, and there were just some things that you couldn't stop. And you know, I mean, you would say it, and people just continue to be jerks and act like a pack of rabid animals. And she like took after this guy and kind of like hit him in the shoulder, and woke him up and told him to knock it off. And sometimes that's what it takes.
Sometimes that is what it takes, because the teachers are powerless. There's less and less discipline in school. The education system, the justice system has turned into a joke in this country. So sometimes what you have to do is just knock their block off, simply put.
Well,
and I just, yeah.
Well, you know, exactly what you say is the punchline to this is, now this I can't believe. This kid was savagely beaten for no reason, and it ends, according to KPX, quote, police say they're considering the assault a misdemeanor.
No, I'm sorry. If you hurt anybody because of their sexuality, 10 years in prison. If I had my way, life is very, 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 very short on this planet. And to hurt another person over their sexuality, animals are better than that. I think that's repugnant, and I just think people like that are pure scum. They should be tossed away.
Well, and I tell you what doesn't make sense is that I did some citizen academy training with a local police department, and the police department said that according to the FBI, because you have to sign on to the FBI and their crime statistics, so it's basically whenever there's an incident, you have to do a certain form that the FBI has designed, and there's a checklist. I mean, is it domestic battery? Is it blah blah blah? And then on there, is it an incident denial of civil rights based on sexuality? And so, like, I don't know. This is the one part that I want to call KPX and see if they somehow were misquoted, because I find this hard to believe. Now, if this is going on in Missoula, Montana, that they're just going to consider this a misdemeanor when it's supposed to go to the FBI, and it's I know that it's a loaded question, hate crime, but if someone's willing to do violence upon another that is innocent, no matter what your beliefs are, they're a problem.
That they have to be stricter. That these judges are giving them too much leniency. You have to set a precedent. If you attack somebody because of his or her sexuality, throw the book at him or her. The year is 2012. I can't believe we're still dealing with this in America. I don't know, but I blame this on the collapse of the family unit, of education. The world is indeed getting colder and faster and crueler. So we just have to fight back with a stricter law enforcement. Not new laws. We don't need new laws. We have more than enough laws. They're not being enforced. The law needs sharper teeth. That's all.
Anthony, did you ever actually read the novel of The Godfather opposed to just watching the movie?
You know what I did? I listened to the audiobook with Joe Mantegna like a year or two ago. I'm an audiobook freak.
Oh, I love audiobooks.
Yes.
Well, okay, so the book in a lot of ways is an improvement over the movie. And, like this might sound sacrilege, but I almost believe that The Godfather should be remade because it should be included with true Sicilian dialect, not this mishmash of Italian Americanisms. Mm-hmm. And but on top of that, though, it should be more true to the book, with the exception of there's mention of Al Capone. I thought that's the only downside that Mario Puzo made was mention Al Capone and Maranzano. Mm-hmm. But the thing about The Godfather, the novel, okay, the thing about this is that when the opening movie goes, I believe in America, what he was talking about, that Undertaker, was that his daughter had been beaten like an animal. Well, that character had a much more pronounced role in the novel, and it went into the fact that the judge, okay, now he mentioned it in the movie, suspended the sentence, but they spoke at the length of how these two men, or or boys. They were trying to call them boys, but they were men. Oh, these poor boys! They've done so much for the community. Their family's upstanding, and and the judge is getting paid behind the bench for his reelection campaign. And, this kind of thing actually kind of goes on a lot. And KCXL tries to fight this corruption. There's a little podunk town with probably absolute zero population of Italians. And, some might say maybe they have their own little organized crime going. It's a place of complaint around here, Grain Valley, Missouri. I really don't know the place. I never had a problem with it. It's next door. It's a small little town. But there's a lot of little shenanigans that go on that town. And there's no Godfather movie to expose them. Now, in Jersey, do you have any complaints going on right now? Something that could be used as a metaphor for what's wrong with America?
What's wrong with America, I think it's just, New Jersey right now is destroyed. The Northeast is destroyed by people, like the coasts are, by politicians. My uncle says, the politicians it's a legal mafia, for God's sake. What has happened to New Jersey is we are run by people who believe in nothing but government. They don't believe in the individual. They don't believe in private enterprise. This is one of the worst states for a small business like ours to thrive in.
Oh, wait, I got a great question. Okay, I've been told, unless this has changed, something interesting about New Jersey and pumping your gas. Now, is that a thing of the past? Tell Kansas City this.
We're one of two states where we don't have to pump our gas.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to pump your gas, are you?
It's illegal.
Ah, there you go. Kansas City, Missouri, and Johnson County, Kansas. Whenever you say there ought to be a law, think about New Jersey. You cannot pump your gas. And what happens if you try to pump your gas? Are the police going to come and go, woo, 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 pull over?
I've heard about it. I've never seen it, but I've heard about it. There are signs up. You cannot pump your own gas.
So maybe is it a friendly type fascism where people are like, hey, they're going to pump my gas for me, so why not? And they get complacent and lazy and go ahead.
Well, that's small. It's a big issue with taxing people who are breaking their back, taxing the very breath out of their lungs. We're not talking about the big guys. We're talking about the regular Joe and Jane public, people, mom and pop stores. And I've seen people I never thought would go out of business. They're going out of business. And it's just, I don't know, this country has gone way off course. We have to return to more freedom, more pro-business policies.
What do you think about Chris Christie, your governor? Is he as bad as his opponents make him out to be?
No, he's not as bad. He's a punk, don't get me wrong, but he is needed. This state needs a cleaning. We have had 20, 30 years of people, this is beyond politics, of people who believe nothing but big government. Taxes, property taxes are through the roof. And Christie is trying to do something. Yes, he's going after people who should not be, I don't know, but he is helping out. I have seen it. I've seen Democrats and Republicans praise him. But I totally understand why people hate his guts. He's turning into a cartoon. But he is helping us. He is helping us out. Don't get me wrong. I don't like any politician, period. That's a Sicilian in me. But I do like their policies. That's all.
We're going to go to a station ID here in a second, and you're going to be listening to Ministries Burning Inside, one of my favorite songs. This is KCXL, AM 1140 and 102.9 FM. We stream at kcxl.com, and if you go to the kcxl.com website, you can also discover a way to hear the show through your cell phone. That's Kansas City Extra Large, KCXL. We're broadcasting from Liberty, Missouri. I'm Benny Anthony, and we're here with Anthony Ventimiglia.
Hello.
And he's from New Jersey. So
yes.
Now Chris Christie, he's half Sicilian on his mom's side, I guess.
Yep.
Do you know his family? Does his family think he's punks? Do they vote for him?
What'd you say?
Does his family think he's a punk, or do they vote for him?
I don't know what the deal is, but the reason why he has a short fuse, believe me, that's the Sicilian in him.
Sicilians are interesting. Talk about the sacred and the profane. Sicilians can be very even-tempered to a fault. I mean, you can say a lot to them, and then boom, they'll explode. But then there's also some Sicilians out there that they will, on a daily basis, have an explosive temper. So it's kind of like the sacredness where they're very lovable, quiet people, but then not. You have any explanation on that one? Into the Sicilian soul?
We have hot blood. Period. That's what happens to us. But there has to be a difference. Now, my family, we're all maniacs. We all yell and shout and go after each other, but it's all out of love. There's no anger there. It's just we go from 0 to 60 in a split second. But there's no malice or hostility in it. That's the way Sicilians are. Sicilians don't whisper. They shout. That's all.
What do you think the difference between the Sicilian and the people from Naples, the Nobili Don Americans?
I don't know. I think my grandfather was from Naples. The man loved to drink. He loved his vino rosso. He was cooler. But my other grandfather, who's still working, 83 years old, you don't mess with him. You do not mess with him. He'll break your back with one glance. So,
what do you think about the Obama administration, Anthony?
Well, I've had enough of Obama, period. I mean, bring back Bill Clinton. I'll take Clinton. I'll take anybody but Obama. However, if the economy booms...
Wait a minute, Anthony, you're a bigot. You're mean. You hate African Americans, evidently.
I love everybody. I love everybody.
Who's your favorite African American?
My favorite American?
No, favorite African American.
My favorite African American?
Yeah, James Brown.
James Brown? Sure. I love James Brown. I love James Brown.
He's dead. There used to be a song. They killed him. They killed poor James Brown before he died. There was a song called "James Brown is Dead," and it was like it would go into this like techno music. It was a little too serious, and I always wondered, what did James Brown think about that?
He was. You got to see that blooper when he was on CNN and he was roasted out of his mind. He goes after the interview. It's all on YouTube. You can see it. He was a party, but you know what, Benny? We don't have guys like that anymore. It's very sad. We don't have talent like that and class and just, I don't know. Our pop culture is in the toilet.
Chuck Berry, since we're calling from Missouri, that's someone that I liked. I mean, he was from St. Louis, and he had some little problems here and there, but Chuck Berry was... I always thought of Chuck Berry and Little Richard and James Brown, those three great talents, great talents.
Yeah, those are like the godfathers of rock and roll. And Chuck is still performing. I would love to see him. He's over 80.
Wow. I hate to say it, but I almost going to think that I thought he had passed away. I was going to declare him dead prematurely.
Nah, he's still alive and duck walking.
This is the other amazing thing about Anthony, that every day he's a powerhouse of information. He will release on his Facebook birthdays, deaths, celebrations of a certain date of all kinds of pop icons. What's going on today in today's date? Yesterday was Alfalfa's birthday, which he's dead. The guy that played Alfalfa, it was his birthday yesterday. Whose birthdays are today?
Today is John Holmes' birthday. Can I say that?
Oh, my God.
But
sure.
Have you noticed I don't put any celebrity after the mid-'90s? Because in my opinion, celebrities today do not hold a candle to celebrities of yesteryear. It was somewhere in the mid-'90s where the style went way above talent and substance. It's also Sylvia Sidney's birthday today, from Beetlejuice. Even though people are...
Oh, and the Dead End Kids. Oh, that was her start, Sylvia Sidney and the Dead End Kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was a cutie back then.
Oh, yeah.
So who else's birthday besides Dirk Diggler?
I'm trying to think. I can't think of Keith Carradine, Mel Tillis. I'm trying to think. I don't know, but yeah, yesterday was Alfalfa's birthday. I don't know, who did I put up to that? My memory is shot.
Well, every day you always put up Betty Page. You want to tell everyone about something about Betty Page?
I worship Betty Page. Betty Page has a cult out there, and it's a pleasure to wake my friends up with a tantalizing picture of Betty Page, the pinup queen of the 50s. The problem is that most of Betty's pictures are in the nude, but they're the classy nudes, but unfortunately nudity is banned on Facebook, which is an absurdity.
Well, the thing that I always found interesting about Betty Page is that, going back to my theme of the sacred and the profane, that she had a life like this. She kind of waxed and waned back and forth between Christianity and her just being a very wholesome, down-to-earth, small-town girl, all-American girl, American as apple pie type. That was her personality. But then she lived in this world of where the photographers paid her to dress up in leather and wear whips and stuff like that. Any perspectives on her life story, her arc?
Well, she had a chaos. I mean, after the 50s, she had a very troubled personal life. But I mean, those pictures, there's something innocent about them. Even the S&M stuff, the leather stuff, is very innocent stuff. I'm glad she never went hardcore, thank God. But I know in her later life she found Jesus, thank God Almighty. She found Jesus. She became sort of a recluse, but that only helped to build up her mystique and her legion of fans.
Well, she also had some sort of mental breakdown. She didn't do drugs, but she got into some sort of trouble where she, I hate to say this, but she beat a neighbor.
Oh.
Do you know that story?
I never heard of that.
Yeah, sometime in the early 70s. I think somehow she started struggling with bipolarism. It's a horrible disease, and there's a lot of nice people out there that have it, but then they look kind of evil, when they're raging. So that was something that Betty Page later in life struggled with, and I think that through her Christian faith, it ended up calming her down. She was able to get past that. She wasn't quite a Scientologist, so I don't know if she was on lithium or not, but...
Oh, geez, don't get me started on Scientology.
Oh, well, why not? Okay, well, the sacred. Okay, how sacred or not is Scientology? And by the way, I used to call this the rattlesnake in the mailbox. I never said the word Scientology on air because I was told that they would warn you with a rattlesnake in your mailbox. So...
Then let's just keep talking, Benny. Next subject. I love L. Ron Hubbard. I thought he was the best. He had great teeth. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
What's your home address, Anthony?
No. I love Tom Cruise.
Do you?
Yeah, he's a great guy. Everybody.
There's been a lot of men claim they love Tom Cruise. Are you trying to get money from the Church of Scientology? Come on, dish.
Sure. Just don't hurt me.
All right. So next subject, but on to something that's truly sacred. You come from an area of immigrants with a century-long past. Tell us about some of the churches that are in your area, and tell us about your faith.
Well, right now I'm in the woods. I'm still some sort of Christian, but growing up, the rest of my family, deeply devout Catholics. Our store is right across the street from Our Lady of Mount Virgin Church. That was the church I was baptized. It's like the family church. My parents were married there. It's like the big church in town. So growing up, we looked to Padre Pio, we looked to Santa Rosalia, the patron saint of Palermo. And, my father and my mother, my grandfather, still very pious people. Me, right now I'm a lapsed Catholic. I'm looking at everything, but I am a spiritual person. I do believe there's something. I do believe there's something out there. This isn't it. Something happens when you pass away. I really believe that. There's way too much mystery in life, stuff that'll never be explained by science. I'll never forget 4 years ago, a kid fell out of a 4-story building here in the Bronx. Not one bone was broken. And the doctors were puzzled. So if scientists can't explain this and there's no God, then what just happened? So I do believe something happens. I believe something is watching us. I do believe in a God. I do believe in an afterlife.
I'll tell a story, but before I get into the story, I will throw something out there. There was something that was called The Weight of the Soul, and I forget the gentleman that did this, but he was kind of ghoulish, but he was weighing people that were dying. and they came up with a weight
Yes, I
consistent.
heard,
Yeah,
for the soul. I've heard that story.
yeah, and no one's ever tried to replicate it because I mean it's a very ghoulish thing to like watch over dying people to like weigh their soul. But he was taking into account their nightgowns, their bed, the whole thing, and he came up with a weight. Well, I'll tell a ghost story, so to speak, something mystical on myself. I had a friend that had bipolarism, and at the time I didn't understand it. And she had a couple suicide attempts under her belt. And I was actually in the Oklahoma-Missouri border down south, and I had a girlfriend. And the girlfriend and I were eating at a McDonald's. Well, the girlfriend and I used to double with this person that was struggling with mental health. And her and I looked at each other like, did you just see what I saw? And I wasn't going to say anything. I said, okay, I'm not going to say anything. Please tell me that you saw what I just saw. And she said, yes, I saw your friend. And I was like, whoa, what would she be doing down here? I have no clue. I mean, because, up in Kansas City is where she was supposed to be. And I didn't know anything was going on with her mental health at this point. As far as I knew, everything was great. Well, around the same time, this is when dark was happening. It was in the summertime. She had successfully killed herself, and she had to be revived.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I mean, I've had this one little mystical experience of my girlfriend called me the next day and said, hey, what's going on? You haven't called me. And I said, well, this X, Y, and Z is going on with my friend. She's like, the one we saw down at the border? I said, yeah. Was she there? I said, no. She was clinically dead. So
That's bizarre. That's Twilight Zone stuff.
it is bizarre. Hey, you want to hear some cell phone music? This will break things up.
Beautiful.
That's my cell phone.
Terrific.
What do you have on yours? Do you have like a belch? Something profane, I would think.
Nah, I used to have The Stripper by David Rose.
Oh, that's like the old time one that they used to do for like the different women, right?
Yeah. Take it off, baby. Take it off. I used to have that.
In Kansas City, there is a Kansas City Burlesque Society. And what's interesting is most of these women are tattooed. So they're kind of a mixture of old-time burlesque, but then a little punk or riot girl.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not into that. But they should bring back burlesque. They should bring back burlesque comedians. They should bring vaudeville back.
I have been a fan of that Betty Page look, and I don't know. I guess there's a little prejudice in me. I don't like women that have tattoos, but every once in a while I see women that have tattoos, and they're okay. But I don't know. I just kind of wonder if we've gone too far with getting away from natural beauty.
We have too many plastic people. We have too many Ken and Barbies out there, and once in a while I dig it. Most of the time I don't. There's too much plastic out there. It's a plastic world.
I have a friend that is a beautician, to use the old-time name, and I've been helping her promote her hair salon. And so if you're in the Kansas City area, everyone probably knows where the old Glenwood Theater is. And across from there is a hair studio that she runs. And if you go to the bvogue.net, bvogue.net, and that's just bvogue.net, bvogue.net hair studio, there is a chance for some free haircuts. So there's a few free haircuts, and if you email me at BennyAnthony@AOL.com, BennyAnthony@AOL.com, and I will send you the information on how to get this to you. But also, too, if you go into there, there is a chance for if you bring a child, if you're a grandparent or parent, you can get a free child haircut. if you get your hair serviced in some way. So that is a part of what we call the KCXL Prize Vault. And it's slamming door. All right. You're listening to Benny Anthony on KCXL AM 1140. And on the line calling from New Jersey is Anthony Vitamia. Means my life.
That's me, baby.
All right. Tell us a story. Tell us something that you lined up. Is that too much on the spot? Is that like Beetlejuice? Can I be funny?
I'm trying to think of a story.
Well, okay, let me ask you this, okay?
Yes.
Are you even going to vote in the 2012 election?
I most certainly am.
Okay, and are you voting anyone but Obama? Is that the deal?
I'm not voting for Obama. He has until midnight of October 31st. He's the smartest man in the universe. Please, sir, make the economy boom, and you have my vote. It's beyond politics. The economy is dead.
Anthony, I'm going to give you about 2 minutes of an editorial right now, just like you're starting into, and 2 minutes. Make a case of why Obama should turn things around and get your vote, or make a case why you're not going to vote for him. Go.
Government. We're not Europe. We're not Greece. There's no more money yet. There's no more money left. The debt is skyrocketing. At this rate, we will default. The gravy train is about to go over the cliff, and when that happens, when we default, all social services collapse. Nobody is talking about this subject. It is very, very serious. And not only that, if we default, everybody has 10,000 weapons in their house. What do you think is going to happen? That's another thing I want to talk to. I'm against assault weapons. I believe in the right to bear arms, but there are some weapons people should not, unless you're a cop, you should not have these weapons. Listen, Obama failed. He failed. I want Clinton back. Something like Clinton. Something like John F. Kennedy, who was pro-business, anti-communist. I'll take that back. But not Obama. Unless, if the economy booms by Halloween, I will indeed vote for Barry O. And Romney's a punk. I don't like him. But I wish we had more choices in this country, but we don't. Romney is pro-business. Romney is pro-tax cutting spending. He's pro-drilling. And I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know what's going to. There's something inside of me that says Romney is just going to rearrange the deck chairs on the Titanic, but I'm going to go with the lesser of two evils. You know, I don't know any. Oh yeah, and
vote
Romney.
None of the above. Richard Pryor, another great African American. I would think he is the greatest African American in my mind in the movie industry.
The great Bill Duke. My opinion, Bill Duke, who's a little known actor. He's
American Gigolo.
That, well, I don't know. I like
Predator. Bill Duke.
I'm trying to think of. I don't know. Keith David. There's a lot of.
Yeah, but I'm referencing something. Let's get back to Richard Pryor for a second. Vote none of the above. What movie am I referencing?
Well, I don't know.
Brewster's Play Millions. Not Brewster's Place with Oprah. Brewster's Millions. Remember when he said vote for none of the above? That's what we need in America. That's what I want to go on. I don't want Obama. I don't want Romney. I want none of the above. Do-over. And that means, once you've been voted out through none of the above, then bye-bye. You don't get to run again. Too bad. Your option of a second term, I think they should get one term. I think, the unlimited terms that what became through our history, the Founding Fathers may not have wanted it, but that's the way it became. Then it became 2 terms. 8 years is too long. 4 years is dreadful. I would give it like 3 years. 3 years and a none of the above vote. If you don't like who's on there, let's just wipe it clean. I don't know. Am I a radical? Am I a radical, Anthony?
Yeah. For the presidency, I think 2 terms is okay, but we have a lot of senators.
Oh, Anthony, I was in love with you. I was ready to propose marriage until you said that.
What'd you say?
I was going to propose marriage to you. I mean, you're like this perfect guy until you said 2 terms. Oh. And I have to break the inspiration that I was feeling. Oh. 2 terms? Okay, make the case. I want to hear it. Maybe I'll change.
2 terms, hey, but that's it. No, we're not going to do it. I'm just saying, like, there's this guy, Charlie Rangel. He's 2,000 years old, right here in Harlem. He's been there since Moses walked the earth. How about Ted Kennedy? There should be term limits. There should be no lobbying. I think that would help out America a lot. How about Barney Frank? He was there since, I don't know, since Louise Brooks was on the silver screen. They get corrupt. When they're there that long, they get corrupt.
Okay, Anthony, we have about 5 minutes left in the show, and I don't know. Let's get personal for a second. You have anyone you want to dedicate this show to? Someone, a little special Anthony out there, or Mrs. Anthony?
I want to dedicate this to all my Facebook friends. I love you all so much. I want to plug the Book of the Year, Welcome to Slumberland by my friend Denise McKinney, the Book of the Year, and I want to dedicate this to my lovely, lovely family. I love them all so much. PastaBoy.com, the best pasta on earth.
I'm gonna dedicate this show to beautiful her, Bella Ella. I'm told. How would you say Bella Ella in Sicilian?
Bella what?
Bella Ella. You know, beautiful her.
Belli capelli, beautiful hair. Belli capelli.
Tu sei intelligente. Did I just say you're intelligent?
Yes, you are. You are intelligent. You are a sharp cookie.
Yeah. Anthony, tu sei intelligente.
Hey, Madonna, you a very beautiful boy. You have a heart that's as big as the sky. You a very nice boy. Tu sei bello guayo. Oh, that's a big, my grandfather used to say that. Guayo. That means young boy in Napolitan.
Hey, you know, that's finally been explained. The Sopranos never explained that.
You want to drink and get drunk with your grandfather, fall off of the chair?
You know, with me, it was my grandma Tuso, and she would say, Benny. And actually, Benny is actually an Americanization of Balsano Antonino. So some of my older cousins, like third and fourth cousins, when they were still alive, they would go, Balsano.
Oh, beautiful. Well, my birth name is Antonino Vitamia, right after my grandfather. We both got old-fashioned names.
Oh, I love this. You know what? We need to get a Sicilian and an Oblidan on at some point, just so we can hear them and tell a few stories. Wouldn't that be great?
Absolutely.
Now, what do you think about? Wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. We'll do a joint dedication to our Facebook buddy, and if you're listening, Dominic Orlando, what do you think?
Oh, Dominic Orlando, he's a beautiful man. I love him. He's a good guy. He loves Paul Lind. He loves Paul Lind.
Hey,
I'm crazy about Paul Lind.
Paul Lind. Yeah, we should play the match game here on the Benny Anthony Show for a little bit of fun. That'll be a little bit of the profane.
Oh yeah, that would be blanking excellent.
Can you do a Paul Lind imitation?
Oh my goodness.
That's great. That's great. And if you can do more than that, that's even better.
Yeah, I have to break my neck in order to do it. I got to get an ascot around my neck in order to do it. I don't know.
Actually, when we were going to sell the station to the homosexuals, I was taunting the listeners. There's a little hardcore listener base around here that they get easily offended. So I had a character called Perry. We are a part of the Pink Triangle Alliance. We're going to buy KCXL. And oh boy, I got phone calls over that one. I think the gig is up though. They knew it was just I was putting them on, but I got some phone calls razzing them on that. So I don't know, maybe Paul Lynn.
I think Paul Lynn means Charles Nelson Riley.
Oh, I love Charles Nelson Riley.
Rip Taylor.
Oh.
That's what we got to do.
Oh, God, I tell you who we're going to have on the show in the future. Bert, I'm trying to think of his name, but he actually wrote the book he wrote two autobiographies, one autobiography of Sammy Davis Jr. Bert, I'm trying to think of his name, him and his wife both, and I had him on the show on and off for a full week, and he did nothing but stories of Hollywood, and he started out as a writer for Broadway, and he told us great stories about Frank Costello, and we didn't get to the mafia moment. The mafia moment!
Oh!
We didn't get to that. You got a mafia story for us. We got about 2 minutes until the computer takes over. No, actually, we have 50 seconds.
Mafia. We're not connected to the mafia, but my father and uncle did meet Carlo Gambino by accident. They went to go pick up some dry goods in Mulberry Street in 1975. The manager said, go hang out with the guy across the street. He's an old man. He needs company. My uncle and father went in there. They talked to him. He bought them gelato. And then when they left, the manager said,
is Italian ice cream.
You know who? Carlo Gambino. And they turned white, and they got the hell out of there.
All right. All right. You've been listening to The Benny Anthony Show on KCXL, Kansas City Extra Large, AM 1140. And now the weather. Thank you, Anthony.
Yeah.